Becky here. It's the Pat and JT podcast.
Pat and JT podcast.
So I'm coming in a little hot today.
Yeah.
I just got off the phone, and I'm not going to. And the only reason I'm not going to call out a particular company is because across the board they're all the same.
I know, but this one specifically, I've heard things about every company.
No, every one of them.
But I would call them out quicker than anything. You're not going to get in trouble.
I've never had a problem with them, except I've had Verizon for a long time by choice.
Yeah.
I haven't switched. I don't think. Man, I can't even remember who I had before them. Like Cellular One or something, and then it morphed into Verizon, and I just stayed with them. My parents were on Verizon. Just always was fine with them. Never had a problem with coverage. Everything was always great. But as we know, things have changed. Because you remember when you first got your cell phone, you were paying for your talk time.
Yeah, paid by the minutes a long time ago.
Right? So
yeah.
you'd buy your packages of minutes that you could talk. And then you're texting. Then it was talk and text. And then finally we got to the data. And now everything's just data. But we know nobody's sitting in a back room with a ball of yarn trying to make a bunch of data out of it on a spinning wheel.
No,
there's
not.
Nobody breaking a sweat making data.
Nope.
There's no hard labor charge.
It's a click of a button.
There is not. So you can't tell me there's a shortage of data. Now, I understand when they have to throttle it or when there's overuse, but they've managed to get around that because even you can go to big ball games, you can go where there's a ton of people.
It's getting better,
right?
That's for sure.
You remember back a few years ago when people would go to big festivals and it was spotty because there was just so many people. It was kind of hard to get a signal.
It was still like that at Memorial Stadium a couple weeks ago when we went. I tried to send a video out.
Depends on your service.
Well, and funny you bring up Verizon because Sophia specifically wanted to switch to Verizon. She asked me on Sunday because she said she hates Sprint. I love Sprint. I think Sprint's great.
And it just depends. It depends on whatever it is that's important to you because they all have different features. But regardless, I just got off the phone with a young lady named Elizabeth at Verizon. And not to call her out, she did fine. Although she got me wired up right at the beginning because when she answered the phone, I have this real thing about customer service. Because it's just so easy to do it right.
It's so easy to do it right, and it's a big proponent of customer service. Good customer service is Matt Verzal, and he talks about you treat the customers right, and they will remember you forever. They will tell their friends about it, and you do one bad thing, or you just have a bad attitude, or whatever one time, and it ruins it.
It does.
It's really hard to earn trust back after something like that.
When you come at somebody with the wrong attitude and the phone was answered and she was speaking really fast and I swear to God, okay, I'll tell you for a matter of fact, she didn't even know what she said to me. She said to me...
She's on autopilot?
Autopilot. It was along the lines of, if you can imagine super fast. I don't talk super fast. If I had a little more coffee, maybe I could do it. Welcome to Verizon Wireless. What's your first and last name? But she said it with less emotion than I just did. Welcome to Verizon Wireless. What's your first and last name? And I said, my name is, and I said it slow, intentionally. And she, okay, wonderful. All right, so great. So what's your first and last name? I didn't say anything.
Good. I would have said, it's the same as it was 2 seconds ago when I told you.
Oh my God, you just asked me. I just said that, didn't I? And she kind of laughed. I'm like, oh my God. Okay, here we go. So anyway, I gathered myself together and I said, all I was calling about was because I have the smallest plan you can possibly have, which is 2 gigs of data because I'm always on Wi-Fi.
Beth is the same way. She has the smallest little baby. She has, I think, a gig, and she never even tickles it.
You can't get a gig. You can't get a gig on
Sprint.
Verizon.
Yeah.
So it's you can do 2.
Sprint,
and I have rollover. No, I have rollover. So I have 5 gigs available right now. I have 98% available, and I have 10 days left in my plan this month. So I don't use data. And if I do, it's because I was the other day when I was sitting there playing that stupid game of yours and somebody called me and said I look like their aunt. And that was one of the few times because I wasn't on their business Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
I've never used data. So I wanted to know about the unlimited. Reason why? Because I saw this little notification shows up on my phone. It says, hey, if you have Verizon, you can get that Disney Plus for a year for free. I was like,
what? Nice little bonus.
It's kind of like the biggest competition for Netflix to come down the pike, right?
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, well, that'd be kind of nice. It's only $7 a month, but hey, that money's money. Why not? If it's the same price, so I look it up, lo and behold, it's the same price. I can get unlimited.
That's huge.
Unlimited.
I mean, why
right?
not? Why not? Once you go unlimited, even though you're always on Wi-Fi,
right.
you just whatever.
You don't even have to think about it, right? Well, immediately I'm told how I shouldn't get this plan because, well, you can't. The download speeds are just so slow. You could never stream on it. You can't listen to music or watch videos, and you couldn't even get a news feed on it. And
Which I highly doubt that.
I do too. But I said, well, if you looked at my usage, you would see that I'm 98% of the time on Wi-Fi. I have a 2 gig plan, and I don't even come close. So it really doesn't matter to me. And I hadn't even said anything about Disney Plus because honestly, that's the only reason I was calling because I was like, if I can get Disney Plus for free, win. Oh, okay. And it was actually $10 cheaper a month for that plan than what I'm on. Right?
I mean, no brainer.
So cool. So then the next thing was, okay, well, you're going to have to change the way you're paying. You have yours hooked to a credit card.
What does that have to do with anything? So what?
I have it hooked to a credit card that is super low rate. I think it's a 0% that I have it hooked to. There's a promotion that's involved in it. That's why I have it hooked up. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter even though I didn't. Anyway, she says you have to hook that up to your credit or to your checking account or debit card. What? Like I said, why? Well, because some people have credit cards and they get rewards on their credit cards, and you can't both get rewards and a discount.
That makes no sense. What does the credit card have to do? It was like a Sprint back or whatever, Verizon back credit card. What does that have to do with anything?
Who cares if I do?
Right. If that
How does that hurt Verizon?
You're a wise consumer if you do that. You're smart.
And by the way, I do get rewards for my checking account.
Right. Beth does too. So we should have said that to her. So I'll switch it over to my debit card and I'll get rewards through whatever bank.
I'll actually get more rewards through my checking account than I would through the credit card.
What is it? Any business of Verizon that like they have, as soon as they get their money, who cares what discounts you get on the backside?
And so, but it's the same. You run into that same stuff over and over again because it's like trying to control it right down to a gnat's ass. And so, like the other day, I was even checking on the prepaid cards. There's so much less. The cost is so much less. Well, the reason why is because they take away absolutely everything. You can't make payments on a phone, and you can't have insurance. You can't have all this other stuff that they offer over here if you're with this plan that costs more.
Because they really don't want you to have those. I know that some people will.
Even though you pay extra for those.
Yeah, they still don't want you
to
have those. I don't, and it doesn't matter whatever business it is, subscription, phones, whatever. They're going to get you. They're going to get. They need a certain dollar amount from each customer, whether they get it through insurance, through equipment, through data, through what. It doesn't, and it doesn't matter.
And the chances of you changing cell phone service is a lot easier than it used to be.
Oh my gosh.
Because you used to not be able to take your phone sometimes. It was just
and changing and getting the context over. It was just a nightmare.
There was so many things you had to do, but now it's not that big of a deal to switch servers. But
you'll
the
find
providers.
out soon. I have a feeling that you're going to switch.
I don't even know if there's who. Because I'm honestly not impressed with anybody else, and I'm not impressed enough with anybody else to walk away. But all I said to her was, "Well, tell your bosses they just keep giving us one more chance to not want to stay here." Just I'm like, off
and
my
she's
yard.
Like, and she's
like, whatever.
I went on to the next person.
Whatever, lady. Have a wonderful day, and thank you for being a part of Verizon. Click. I'm like, okay.
Whatever.
And there's not even a click anymore. That's the other thing. When you're using your phone, you can't even get the satisfaction of hanging up on somebody.
Right. Here's the hang up. So ineffective.
Back in the day, if you hung up hard enough, that phone would ring.
Yeah.
It would ring back at you.
And sometimes you'd go for the hang up and you'd miss it and it'd sound all awkward on the other side.
Sound like you just fell down the steps.
Yeah. Hear the intermittent cussing in between the bangs.
Oh my God. So anyway.
Yeah, that's customer service. We've talked about that a million times over the years, but just crappy customer service. It's
so easy to be nice,
and just to on the opposite side of that.
Break.
In our neighborhood, Beth, I think I told this story a couple weeks ago, found a new dentist right in the neighborhood, right? Mm-hmm. And she has told no less than 4 people about this dentist because it's such a great experience, nice people. The actual dentist himself called her a couple days later. Yeah. It was just nothing. Nice. It was like no procedure, anything really. And she's told 4 people. And it's just that
he doesn't have
little
any client.
tiny stuff.
I'm kidding. Okay, go ahead. No, he's got time on his hand. No, I'm kidding. No, I understand.
He's like, so what are you doing?
So that's like
hanging out, doctor. What are you doing? Just sitting down here at Taco Bell.
To be honest, My dentist has checked on me. Mine was usually, though, like after a procedure, maybe a day or two. And he would actually make the phone call.
That's nice.
I appreciate when the staff calls, but when the doctor takes a second, it's kind of like when the vet calls, when your dog's had something done. And just checking up on Spot.
Right. It's just
everything going good?
2 seconds, but you remember that forever.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I hear you. Okay, yeah. So you're right. I mean, the customer service thing, it's just too easy to do it right. Yep. And make somebody's day or make it easier, if nothing else. You just didn't make it harder. I don't know. Yes. Hard transition.
Update on my peeing in the closet situation. First of all, I did not pee on anything last night. So that's a good thing.
That's good.
And
he's gone one day without. We should put the sign up in the hallway. We've gone one day without peeing on something. I'm going to.
Hold on. One day sign. Okay.
It's kind of like the one over the copier, 0 days since office incidents with copy or whatever.
I saw a meme. I had one of those signs. It said, it was like just a big, huge sign with the empty block where they put the days in. And it just said, no accidents free since, and they wrote Bob left. It was just funny. I saw that. Okay. So I guess filling in the details on my pee situation. If you don't know that story, listen to the previous episode. Yeah. It's right there. I urinated all over the place.
Don't tell. See, you're so bad with the teas.
Well, but I know.
If you want to hear the story, you go back to blankety blank.
Here's what I did. So I guess here's what and Beth retold the story as we were telling her mom last night. And shortcut to fast forward to the end of the story real quick. The first thing Beth's mom we kind of teased her, telling little details, didn't tell her exactly what I did till the end. And she goes, "Did you poop in bed?" I'm like, "What?" That was her go-to. That was her first thing. "Did you poop?" I'm like, "No." Who poops in bed? Anyway, so
only the cat you pissed off.
And they thought their hairballs were big. Yeah. Okay, so apparently when I finished peeing, she had me go and get a plastic bag. I didn't just put the clothes in the dirty clothes like I claimed. She had me. I don't even remember any of this. I was so asleep. Had me go get a bag out, like a Target sack, whatever, out and put my wet clothes in there. And she didn't know that my jeans were wet and still sitting on the floor. Yeah. So I attempted apparently to clean it up. Didn't do a very good job.
I would have sent you to the laundry room.
Maybe I don't know. She didn't say that she did.
Take all these and go wash them right now. Put them in the washer.
She was laughing too hard to do anything like that.
That's too funny.
But Bennett actually heard the commotion in the middle of the night. Oh, God. Because when I told him, I didn't want him to hear it from anybody else. I had to tell, when your father pees in the closet, you need to tell your kid.
When you're in high school, and that's the story you get from Dad.
Yeah, he loved it. He thought it was hilarious. But he heard, like in the middle, he said, "I heard Beth yell something about disgusting." And he goes, "I didn't want to come up and see what was going on." I'm like, "Well, you're letting your dad and his wife are sleeping, and you hear her in the middle of the night yell, 'You're disgusting,' or whatever, and that doesn't be like, is everything okay? What's Dad?"
No,
I would think,
him.
What's Dad trying to do?
That's what I would think. Right. I'm with him. I'm not going up there.
That's true.
That's disgusting.
I mean, really,
Pat. That's disgusting. He's lucky he didn't hear the slap.
If I was within arm's reach, I would have gotten the slap. Oh man, so that's the only updates that I really had, is that the clothes were. I actually attempted to put them away, and that I didn't pee on anything.
I'm happy for you.
Yeah.
We'll check in tomorrow.
We'll see
how things are going.
Thanks to Kugler Vision for supporting our podcast. They were the first. They're great. Love Kugler Vision.
Absolutely. World-class leaders in their field. Without a doubt, people come from far and wide to have their eyes taken care of by their team. Dr. Lance Kugler, Dr. Mike Stuntz, and the entire team is phenomenal. All you got to do is get online at kuglervision.com. That's where you make your appointment for your consultation. Have the consultation. They run you through the tests, and the tests are almost fun. I mean, seriously, because you're in like this spaceship environment, and you're just rolling through these different tests. And at the end, they can tell you exactly what's going on with your eyes, what you can expect, what they can do for you, and here are your options, and you can decide. And if you want, you may end up doing it the same day, as a matter of fact. So ditching the contacts, ditching the glasses. I know we've talked about the whole paying for glasses over the course of a lifetime. New prescriptions, same way with contacts, getting stuff in your eyes when you have contacts and you have to find your glasses. Kuglervision.com. Fill out that consultation. You do it yourself. It's a scheduler right there. You pick the day, you pick the time.
Tell them you heard it on the Pat and JT podcast.
I just saw the latest on that whole college scandal thing.
Yeah.
And have you seen the picture of Felicity Huffman in her jumpsuit?
No, I have not seen that picture
She's still
yet.
serving. I think she's probably close to the end of her 14 days.
She's lucky she's about done. I think Lori Loughlin and her husband are going to go up the river for a while.
I do too. And you know, I've seen a couple other cases of some parents, and it's not related to this scheme in particular, but their sentences have been a lot harsher than what's happening here. And what there were a couple of stories. I got to look these up because there were a couple of stories where a mom had done something, what the heck? And a lot of people were outraged because they were like, wait a minute, she's getting this much time and Felicity Huffman got 2 weeks. Felicity Huffman, though, pled guilty. I will give her that. But you're right about what's her bucket and her husband, Lori Loughlin.
Mr. and Mrs. Bucket.
Mr. and Mrs. Bucket. But some of the other people have changed their pleas or are pleading guilty. I think they're seeing the writing on the wall. And some of the people that are involved in this, a lot of CEOs. Big shock, right? Those are the ones that are doing this. Capital, wealth, financial institutions, et cetera, CEOs of those kind of companies. Plus Michelle Janovis. Michelle Janovis? Doesn't matter. Michelle is the Hot Pockets heiress.
Oh, man. Nice work, family.
So Michelle,
I love Hot Pockets.
So Michelle's in trouble also. So she's the Hot Pocket heiress. And it looked like you've got one guy who was the former head of a private tennis academy that pled guilty to racketeering because he was involved in this whole scheme.
If I was an heiress of any,
heiress.
If I was an heiress or an heir, whatever.
You are an heir. You mean an heir?
Yeah, not an error. I am an error, not an heir. If I was an heir to any sort of blah 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 empire,
right?
I would not even I wouldn't even fill out one application for
sign
college.
The check, or just sign the check.
I wouldn't even go. Like, why would you? Why
would you send your kids? Don't you want your kids to go to college? I mean, if they want to go,
if they want to go, if they want to go, or work at the company, or because I'd like to get that's a important growing experience, I suppose. Moving away to college,
well,
they'd have to do it. They'd have to get it on their own, obviously. But I'd like them to do that. But if they didn't want to,
in that situation, when you hope that you had the foresight that you had found a place for your kids to work within the company as they were growing up, and then if this is what they wanted to do, then you'd say, okay, well, the best path is to learn some more skills. It may not be a degree. It may be a degree. It may be, you know what I mean? I'm not the everybody should go to college person.
Right, me either.
At all.
And I'm the worst person. It would be like a family farm. Like the kids grew up on the farm. You teach them farming. If they decide they want to move on, they can go on to college. Otherwise, they keep working on the farm, learning more skills.
Or maybe
and one day they'll run the school. Run the farm.
And nowadays, you can take a lot of classes online if you're wanting to, in particular classes, if they're looking at particular things about farming. Right. And the latest advances. So they want to keep up on what's going on in the markets, or those kind of things are important. But a lot of those people know those things innately. And farmers in particular, when you're talking about a lot of the business sense, it's crazy. They're good with that. But still going off and getting more education is never a bad thing. But you're right, as far as if it takes you a bribery and racketeering scheme to get your kid in college.
Right. Square peg round hole. It's not pushed too hard.
I'd say no. Right now, that Operation Varsity Blues, they said they charged 50 people total. And Huffman ended up paying $15,000. And that was to have her SAT scores for her daughter boosted. Lori Loughlin's kids, neither one of those kids are still at USC. They're both out. That was an awful deal. Those kids were so embarrassed, I think, more than anything, because they found out their mom did that. They weren't part of it. And it just is don't you think we could have done it ourselves?
I'm sure they're mortified.
You know what I mean? It's like they didn't believe in them. That's terrible. That'd be a terrible feeling. But one, a California winemaker, longest sentence so far, got 5 months. So did the same thing that she did. I mean, as far as fraudulently recruited as an athlete and fixed their scores.
Yeah, who knows? They'll probably end up with like a year or less or whatever.
Yeah.
Or they'll plea out or something like that. But
it's just crazy. It says, tried to have their daughter recruited as a tennis player, tried to have their daughter recruited as a volleyball player, tried to have their son recruited. It's just like goes down the list. Hilarious.
Stupid.
And then on the other end of that story are people who are not athletes at all and are getting recognized for it. Dancing with the Stars is going on right now. And guess who's still there is Spicer.
I watched about 10 seconds of the episode last night. I just can't do it anymore. I can't either. The first couple seasons were fine, but we flipped over to The Voice, and that's much better.
Sean Spicer is still on, and I guess last night was the shocker. Sailor Brinkley got sent home, which is Christy Brinkley's daughter. Christy Brinkley was in it, but she broke a arm or an elbow or a wrist or something, and so her daughter replaced her. Broke her arm.
Man, I am checked out. I had no idea any of that was going on.
And so her daughter stepped in. I guess her daughter's really, really good. She got 3 9s. She had a score of 27, and she got knocked out. And Sean Spicer's still there. And I'm like, well, that's what you get, folks. You're like voting.
And each person can vote up 10 times or whatever
We've
it is.
We've seen it happen. I mean, seriously, I kind of pulled up a list, and I didn't grab names, but Zendaya was one that got knocked out when everybody thought she was going to win, and there are several other big names that people thought they're gonna win it. Simone Biles was another one. She got knocked out. It's just a matter of who the people like. It's entertainment. It's not a real competition.
And most people, when they do get voted out, they really want, they're not upset. They're not upset that they're going because it's such hard work and they're not getting paid a ton like they usually do.
They do get some money though when they stay on there, like $30,000 for staying on.
They do, but I've heard, I've seen interviews with people that, not like the biggie names, but they're like, there wasn't an amount of money after they were like 5 or 6 weeks in that would have kept them there because it was so much work.
Tired.
So much work. Because they still have their other jobs they had to do. And then on top of it.
Yeah. Because most of them, that's probably true.
And they were like, they were glad.
There were a few that came back, like for the All-Stars, they tried to come back and get whatever validation by coming, and still got canned.
See ya.
Sorry, it's not a real competition. It's entertainment. So they're voting for the ones they like to see dance more, not necessarily the best.
Right.
Right?
That's why Sean Spicer's still there, because it's the
there you
one
go.
Clip I've seen of him. It's
hilarious.
Embarrassing.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Remember when Tucker Carlson was on? He was awful. He got knocked. He was the first round out. That wasn't even fun to watch.
No, I don't know. It was fun to watch. It's awkward.
There were three of those over the years.
The astronaut. Which one of the astronauts was on there?
Oh,
I don't remember.
I didn't watch it.
I just remember him. He was older, obviously, but I remember seeing it was just tough to watch.
I remember, there were several supposedly like musically inclined people that have been on there too that weren't really good dancers.
No. If you're on there with a football player or gymnast or whatever, you're done.
Generally, that is the case.
Yeah.
I think though most of the athletes have been knocked out this year.
We'll have to watch.
So, anywho, so there you go.
Well, that's our podcast. It's Pat and JT, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, celebrating 1 year P-free. You can go to, you can keep...
One day.
Just 24 hours. You can send us text messages.
I had to stop, like, what? No.
Yeah, 1 day.
What? No. Oh, no. That's 1 day.
1 day P-free.
That's 1 day.
And 402-403-9478.
By the way.
Yeah, text us.
I was just going to say, wait, I just got a text from Heidi. Just getting caught up on the podcast from this morning. Said Ryan once peed. Huh? It says once peed on air event? On an air vent.
On an air vent. Oh, I hope it was.
This is needless to say. I was pissed.
I bet she was.
Once. I wonder if she won that on the podcast.
I went, well.
Anyway.
Sorry. If she had texted you 10 seconds later, it wouldn't have been. Thanks for listening.
Pat and JT Podcast. A Parkville Media Production.